Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Jessica Van Vonderen. The face of local government changed dramatically 4 years ago when controversial amalgamations were introduced amid a wave of community anger. Now, some of those mergers could be reversed. The Newman government promised to give councils a chance to restore their old boundaries. But one mayor believes the de-amalgamation process has been set up to fail. Kieran McKechnie reports.
There was a time in the small farming community of Clifton on the Darling Downs that locals could walk down the main drag and stop the mayor for a chat. They could tell him or her that their rubbish hadn't been collected that morning or that the nature strip needed mowing. But those days are long gone. 4 years ago, the controversial round of council amalgamations saw Clifton swallowed up by the Toowoomba Regional Council.
No one sees anything like the service they got before. In this shire before, you could actually ring the mayor or you could ring the CEO of the council and get an answer to your question within a minute. Now, it takes you longer than that to work out how the hell to get in touch with anyone. This is the petition to look at the prospect of a boundary review for Clifton Shire. I wonder if you'd like to sign it.
Former Clifton Mayor Ian Jones is leading the push to break away from the Toowoomba Council. He wants a new council area set up, incorporating Clifton, Pittsworth and Millmerran.
We are stranded out here. We're just slightly closer to Warwick than we are to Toowoomba. So in the three shires that I mentioned feel a little bit isolated and they feel as though they're not part of the Toowoomba Regional Council identity.
The Toowoomba case perhaps best demonstrates why there was so much anger about the amalgamation process. It was the state's largest merger. 8 councils were absorbed into one super government. For people in smaller towns like Clifton, local government immediately stopped being local.
I think now that we're part of Toowoomba, that it's just too big and things aren't being done around little old Clifton as it should be done.
I think we all want to be back to our little country town and not part of the big picture.
It's difficult to find anyone here who supported amalgamation, yet some are wary of the breakaway push.
I think it's too late to change the situation. I was against amalgamation, but now it's happened. I think it'd be too complicated and too expensive for the locals to go alone on it.
Well, I can't see it being financially viable. I'm for it, but I think it's too late.
Further north, the coastal community of Yeppoon is gearing up for a similar battle.
G'day, Norm, have you signed yet?
No, not yet, Bill.
The former mayor of the Capricorn Coast region, Bill Ludwig, is heading a move to split from the Rockhampton Regional Council.
You've got 2 different regional centres competing on the one council with disproportionate voting power at the table. So we're not getting the balanced outcome that we need.
So far, he's on target to get 20% of the local population to sign his petition, a requirement of the state government if the proposal is to be taken seriously. But the Rockhampton mayor wants things to stay as they are and believes that's the view from the top.
The minister's made it clear that he'd really prefer that we just work it out. Look, you know, the marriage was expensive in the first place. Separating's not going to be easy.
Groups pushing for de-amalgamation have until the end of this month to make their case to the state government. The more viable submissions will then be referred to the Boundaries Commissioner, who'll make his recommendations in late November. But some fear the whole process is a sham.
I very clearly believe that this process that we're currently going through has very little chance of success. I really think it's been set up to keep people quiet, to give them an opportunity to vent their spleen probably. But frankly, when they suggest to me that they have to go back to the old council boundary areas, we all know that with the changes there's been, this will not work.
Paul Antonio is the mayor of the Toowoomba Regional Council. As the Millmerran mayor, he was bitterly opposed to amalgamations back in 2008 and 4 years on says his remains a tough region to govern.
Bringing 8 into one It's been a fairly traumatic process. You know, we've done the best we can. We didn't choose this journey. Not one of us chose this journey. The first 4 years of this council, we found out that there are clearly two different sets of requirements in the Toowoomba region. There's the urban area and then there's the rural area. There's no doubt, and I understand that. My role now as Mayor is to attempt to govern with one set of rules that whole area.
He believes this is a 1 in 100 year opportunity to look at the boundaries in the Toowoomba region and make sensible change, but he doubts it'll happen.
Last Wednesday I spent some time with Minister Christopherly. We've agreed to disagree on the process that he's engaged in. I'm extremely concerned that this particular process has very little chance of getting up.
We are offering a choice of de-amalgamation, which is to go back to the former boundaries in different areas, and I know in the case of Toowoomba that makes it extremely difficult for them, but to do it any other way would have created an absolute monster that I think would have put communities through living hell.
David Crisafulli believes some breakaway council proposals are viable. If the Boundaries Commissioner gives any submissions the green light, they'll be put to a referendum in those areas.
I'm not convinced that this process won't bear some sort of fruit. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be a very difficult process, and the message I keep giving to people is don't do it on nostalgia, don't do it on emotion, do it on raw, hard numbers. But the one thing we're not doing is opening up a whole new round of amalgamation pain.
For many, like those in Clifton, that amalgamation pain is all too raw.
Well, logic and common sense would tell you, Karen, that it should be split. I know this is politics. It may not have a great deal to do with common sense, but all we're asking the minister on this occasion is when we talk about boundary review, a bit of cooperation, a bit of common sense, and finally, a bit of respect for the people who live here.